Hi, today I'm going to do a tag that I'm pretty sure I came up with, at least I thought of it, now I'm gonna do it. If you want to do it as well, then I would love for you to let me know in the comments down below so I can check them all out, perhaps create a playlist of it. But this is about decks that I never got. Those are mostly popular decks that I see a lot of hype around on YouTube, on TarotTube, but that I just for some reason am not vibing with or just do not want to have. And I'm sure you as a watcher or viewer probably have some decks that you see a lot of hype around on TarotTube that you're like, yeah, that's just not my vibe. Respectfully, that is totally okay. This is not to shit on anyone, on anyone's preferences or on anyone's creations, absolutely not. But I feel like it's okay to sometimes talk about the decks that we don't want instead of constantly talking about decks that we bought or that we do want. I tend to do a lot of that. I talk a lot about the decks that I have, why I love them, and I think it's okay to sometimes talk about which decks I don't have and I don't want for whatever reason. I do reserve the right to change my mind around any of these decks to potentially end up in my collection anyway. I am wearing a thin strapped little dress because it is boiling hot here where I live. We are over 30 degrees right now Celsius, so okay, I'm gonna pop something on the screen. I don't know how I'm gonna film this yet, but I am recording my screen. So the first one is the Fountain Tarot. I was so close to purchasing it, but then I didn't. I've had it on my wishlist for a while, but I don't know, this is everything that I think I would love in a deck, but somehow I don't know if it like feels cold or what it is. This is the box. I don't know what it is. The images look really cute. Or cute, it just looks like my vibe. It looks like my aesthetic. I love the backs of these as well. There's a lot to like about this deck, and I saw this deck on 3 Fat Readers. They did an entire 3 Fat Readers approved on this deck, and that one made me want to buy it, which is why I added it to the wishlist. I don't know, it very much looks like my vibe, but for some reason there's just something that is keeping me from purchasing this deck. My hair is also wild, but I don't want to put myself through straightening my hair and it getting all more hot in here. So yeah, that is the Fountain Tarot. The next deck is the Green Witch Tarot. This was on my list when I went over on Lisa Papaz's channel for Help Me Say Yes to the Deck, and this was one of them. And I have been so tempted by this. This is more of like a pagan-y, Wiccan-y type of energy that I at least get from the card. I believe that is sort of the concept of this deck. And it does look really cool. I am a sucker for Llewellyn decks, okay, because they come with the guidebooks and I love the cardstock. And this deck in particular is one that I feel like I always mess up her name. It's Velvet Forest Moon or Velvet Moon Forest, either one of those two. And I know she loves this deck. So I'm like, okay, but if she loves this deck, maybe I could too. So this is one that I do see myself changing my mind about, but not in the near future, I think. It is just a little too witchy for me, a little too pagan-y and Wicca-y, and I just don't feel like that is me. So I almost like feel not worthy of this deck, if that makes sense. Do you have that sometimes, that there's like a deck that has this certain concept around it that you feel like I don't think I'm worthy? I don't know, it makes sense in my head. The next one is the Druidcraft Tarot. This is one that we see a lot of hype around as well, and I think it looks really cool. It's like Celtic inspired. I don't really have much with that side. I am from the Netherlands, and so I have more with the, I don't know, there's not really a, I guess it's like Germany, Germanic, that sort of side a little bit more, but also my grandmother is from Portugal, so I would love to know if there are any decks that are more from that culture that I could dive deep in, because I definitely feel like she is my spirit guide and the person who I turn to for answers. Like, she's the one that I communicate with when I do tarot. So that is why this kind of deck isn't really my thing. I gotta say, when I'm looking at this, it looks so earthy and it looks really fun. I don't know, I also know that to be able to really work with this deck, you'll have to mod it, especially me, because I have a lot of mobility issues in my hands and I just don't want to cut into cards. I want cards to be properly sized for me so that I can work with them. Otherwise, they're just not my thing, and I think that's okay. I appreciate the love and the hype that this deck gets though, and I definitely feel like it is deserved. It's just not my thing. Ethereal Visions. This was one of the first decks that I saw when I got into tarot, and this is one that I saw a lot of people be super hyped about, and I was really close to getting it because there's like this foiling on the cards which look really, really beautiful. But then the reason that I didn't get it is because I just don't love the Art Nouveau. Like on some parts I do like it. I am intrigued by the Golden Art Nouveau tarot, but just Art Nouveau all by itself, I don't know if I necessarily love that. Ooh, do you hear my neighbor being loud? He does that. He does that. The Ethereal Visions, I think it's really, really beautiful. I don't know if it's necessarily diverse. Oh, that's the next one. I don't know if it's necessarily diverse. I don't know, there's something super intriguing about this deck. Okay, I gotta stop scrolling. But it looks really stunning. It does, but it's the golden art, like the Art Nouveau thing about it that I don't love. Okay, the next one are two separate oracle decks. They are the Work Your Light Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell, and then the Starseed Oracle, also by Rebecca Campbell. I saw the mod that Danny Mystic did with it, which I really like how she did that. However, I don't think it's my thing. Like, I get that this would pair great with the Muse Tarot, but that is already on the chopping block for me, and I don't know if that is one that I want to keep. And overall, I just don't feel like a lot of these artworks and keywords really do something for me. So I feel like if I were to pull cards from these decks, I would really have to work with the guidebook and try to do like mental gymnastics to come up with an interpretation, which is why I have never really felt super attracted to these decks. I don't know which one I liked more. I think it was the I don't remember. But there was one of these decks that I got really close to purchasing, and then I was like, I really shouldn't, and I didn't. So and so far I'm really happy that I didn't. Next, the Tarot of Vampyres. This one has taken the tarot tube. I don't know if it's like by surprise, but just especially with the guidebook, and Lisa Pepez did an entire video on it, and she had it from, I think it's Owl Moon here on YouTube, that she got inspired by to purchase this deck, and apparently the guidebook is really good. I don't think I'm there yet in my practice to really focus in on the Kabbalah and all that stuff. That is just, I don't know if that is something that I want to implement in my practice at all. If I do, then this might be a good book to get. It's like I'm saying book because I am not interested in these cards. I can appreciate that. Is this even the deck? I thought this was. Yeah, I think it is. I can respect it for what it is, but it's not for me. Not for me, and it's okay. Next is the Wisdom of the Oracle. And these keywords just don't do it for me, and that is the main reason that this deck is not for me. The keywords are not enough for me in combination with the artwork to do it for me. And then I now see that the numbers are on different places on the cards, and that really bothers me. It really bothers me. I know this is like a super loved, mostly recommended oracle deck. Not for me. And another one by Colette Baron Reed is the Spirit Animal Oracle. And the reason that I don't have this is because it has been on my wish list for a long time. I have multiple times have come really close to purchasing it. However, I read that spirit animals is part of the, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, English is not my first language, indigenous culture, that is where spirit animals come from. And that it's sort of like appropriating indigenous cultures to create a deck like this. And like, I don't know anything about the creators behind these decks. This deck could very well be created by an indigenous person, but because this is not my culture, and my culture doesn't even come close to their culture, is why I do not feel comfortable working with this deck. And I feel like there's a whole thing about cultural appropriation, and there was recently a video published about this that I'll link down below, that one of my channel members recommended that I watch, and we got to talking about that a little bit. And yeah, that is why I do not feel comfortable purchasing the Spirit Animal Oracle. Like, it looks stunning, it does, and I like the idea of an animal oracle deck. It's just that this is not my animal oracle deck. One that has been on my wishlist for a while is the Divine Animal Oracle. That one I might end up purchasing, but not this one. Then the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I see, who do I see talking about this? It was Jess Reed's Cards, I think she has changed her name to. I don't know if right now she still owns this. I think she got rid of all of her decks. But also, again, Velvet Moon. I'm sorry. I forget the order that the words are in. I'm sorry. But I love her channel. I'll link her down below. I talk about her all the time. But both of them really enjoy this deck. And there's a Dutch version of this deck as well. I don't really care about Dutch tarot decks. I'd much rather have them in English because I use them for my videos anyway. I don't know, I have heard horrible things about the cardstock. I'm definitely not a cardstock snob, so I don't know if the cardstock is something that I would really be bothered by. It's minimal, it's definitely my aesthetic. I really like the lighter colored tarot deck, so this is one that I might end up changing my mind about as well. But for right now, it's a little too much with the skulls, and yeah, that's a little bit, like, I know it's Antique Anatomy Tarot, just a little bit too far for me, but I reserve the right to change my mind. So yeah, these are the cards. I don't remember, I think this picture is from Urban Outfitters or something. It looks really cool, look at that. I like the backs too, really sort of neutral, and like I said, it's totally my aesthetics. I'm interested to see what would be in the guidebook though. I am intrigued by this deck, but I don't know. Okay, the next is the Deviant Moon Tarot as well. Like, these are the cards for the Deviant Moon, as well as the Della Luna. I think Trionfi Della Luna. I don't know. Anyway, any Patrick Valenza tarot decks, I admire his work from a distance. I respect what he does and I respect what he has created. It's just not for me. And the Deviant Moon Tarot is one that was on my wish list for, like, the what was it called, the Help Me Say Yes to the deck, where you could vote for me what deck I needed to get. And I decided that the Deviant Moon is just too confronting for me. This isn't even the borderless cards that I'm showing you. Those were the ones that I wanted to pick up, but I decided to just not. I don't know, I think it's too confronting for me. I can't. And the same with the Trionfi Della Luna. I can't. I respect it for what it is. I respect you if you absolutely love these cards and they are your go-tos. That's fine. I love that for you. They're not mine though, and that's fine. How many times do I have to keep saying that it's fine? It's fine. Okay, Pagan Otherworlds. I think the aesthetics of this, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. 100% up my alley. I don't think I can even get it anymore. I didn't even find like a place to get it. I'm pretty sure it's also really expensive, especially shipping to Europe plus customs that I'll have to purchase. This is one that I would say I might change my mind on. I don't see it happening in the near future though. This one does look really stunning. I appreciate it for what it is, and I really like seeing it in other people's videos. I like seeing readings done with it. I feel like they lay out really prettily, and like I said, definitely my aesthetics. I don't know, just never really got to a point where I wanted to purchase it though. Let me know what you think of the Pagan Otherworlds. Do you have it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know. Okay, the This Might Hurt Tarot. I talked about this deck in my flip through of the Wake Me Up Tarot deck, because what the This Might Hurt Tarot is for a lot of people is what the Wake Me Up Tarot is for me. So a lot of people love that the This Might Hurt Tarot is their world, what they live in. And that is not the case for me. I don't know, I never really felt super attracted to these cards, to not necessarily art style. I can definitely respect and appreciate the art style. It's just that some, I cannot put my finger on it, on what it is. But it's just not for me. And the Wake Me Up Tarot is exactly perfect for what I want in a 100% relatable modern tarot deck. And that is what a lot of people have in the This Might Hurt Tarot, and I got really close to purchasing it. I don't think I ever settled on what colored edging I wanted, but it was just a little bit too expensive for something that I wasn't 100% sure about, and now I'm just really glad that I didn't get it. I don't see myself picking this up, I really don't. Again, I respect it for what it is, but I just don't see myself using this, you know? What is your favorite or most perfect modern tarot deck? I would love to know. The Gentle Tarot. So many people love this deck. So many people adore this, and it's one of their favorite decks, and I respect that. I appreciate that. But this is more like animal energy, and even though I love animals, I love animals. Animal tarot decks somehow just don't seem to work for me. I think it is because I'm not great with animal symbology. The only animal tarot deck that I really bond with is my Magical Dogs tarot, because I just feel very bonded to dogs and to dog energy. So that is one that feels very comforting and I feel very connected to. But I just don't have that with a lot of other animal decks. I don't know, there's just something about this. The art style as well is just not something that floats my boat necessarily. So this is just not my thing. I've never been tempted by this. Ooh, never been tempted by the Oak Ash and Thorn too. I know this might be a little harsh for some people. Like, I love it for you if you love this deck. I truly do. I mean no harm, I mean no disrespect. But again, an animal tarot, and it looks pretty. It looks autumny and looks like, I love a good hedgehog. Like, this is a card that would make me consider a deck like this. I love cards like that. But then there are also a lot of cards that I just don't vibe with, just because it's too unfamiliar. It's too unfamiliar for me. So the Oak Ash and Thorn, yeah. I know a lot of people love this deck, as well as the other one, the dragon deck that they have. I don't even know like one image in that deck, but that is not one for me either. This is just, I feel like it's a little too detailed as well for such a small tarot card, that I feel like you cannot really, or I wouldn't be able to appreciate all of the little details in each card. Are we at the final ones yet? Yes, so these are the Season of the Witch Oracles. I have the Yule one, the Samhain, and the Beltane ones. I have neither. I don't know, I love the idea of oracle decks specifically for Sabbath. I don't feel like I am maybe even like worthy in, no, how do I want to put this? Because I do not consider myself a pagan. I'm very interested in paganism, and I'm definitely like looking things up and studying and researching things about paganism. And I'm very intrigued by it. I definitely relate to the overall concept of paganism, as well as the Sabbaths. I think they're very interesting. I think they make a lot of sense as celebrations go. However, I feel like it's a little cash grabby to decide to have an oracle deck for every Sabbath, because when you get one, most people, when they get one, they feel like they have to get them all, because there are 8 Sabbaths, so there will be 8 of these decks. And I already know a lot of people that have said, oh, I will wait or like I will get every one of them. And those are already 8 Oracle decks. That's a lot. That I'm pretty sure that's already even like more than I have, or the exact number that I have of Oracle decks. And I don't know if any, like I don't have these, okay? Like these are decks that I didn't get. So I don't know how different in energy they all are. I'm guessing when I look at them, I can see it. This is definitely really wintry. This feels very springy, and then this one definitely feels more Halloweeny. So I get that. It's just not my thing, not how I use Oracle decks either. I think I can appreciate it for what it is. I definitely understand people who feel very close to Sabbaths, that they might want to get all of them. For me, it just feels slightly a little bit too cash grabby. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the decks that I didn't get. How the decks I never got, I think I'm gonna name this tag. So I would love it if you could do a VR or whatever. Let me know in the comments down below decks that you never got, that you see are very popular on TarotTube. I would love it if you, I don't know, completely berate some of my favorite tarot decks that are popular. I don't know, I love it. I love hearing other people's takes and other people's different tastes in tarot decks and oracle decks. That is what I love about this community overall. So if you want to see more videos like these, I do a lot of tarot readings, tarot deck chats, and that sort of fun stuff on the channel. So subscribe if you want to see more. You can also join the channel membership, where you get access to the video version of my weekly podcast, as well as access to the private Discord server, which has been a lot of fun. And you can also book a private tarot reading with me through the link in the description box below. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.